Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Fabi and Sylvie TV. And I said I wasn't going to introduce myself because you should already know based on the name right there. I'm Fabi.
I'm Sylvie. Hi, Fabies. Hashtag Fabies. Woohoo!
Welcome back to yet another episode of our Shush Let's Talk Anonymous. This is, of course, season 1, episode 7. And we're glad to have you here. So, welcome.
I can't count.
I was just about to say, I think you're holding up 8. So let's get right into it. As you guys know, last episode we talked about long distance relationship and what that would look like for you guys. And some of you reached out and commented, so we really appreciate that. If you're new, you're watching. Like I just mentioned in the intro, this is the 7th episode of our series. So go back and listen to watch our first 6 episodes. That way you are up to date on what is happening. So, nonetheless, welcome back, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's session.
I hope no one is forgetting about my edges. Please, edges. Don't forget about me. Save my edges. Save
Oh,
Sylvie's edges.
let's. I told you we should start a campaign. Save Sylvie's
Campaign.
edges. Okay, so today's topic, we're going to continue on, not in the long distance, but more or less on the dating and what that would look like, right? So we talked about what would be the ideal first date and what if you are in a long distance relationship, what that would look like. So I wanted to continue that series before we completely let it go because there's so much ways you can go about it, right, Sylvie? So I wanted to go into like some of the questions that you asked and for you yourself, if you get asked that question, to kind of be prepared so you know how you would answer, because like we do each other all the time. Sometimes the questions comes up and you're like, uh how do I answer, right? So just some of the things that we can go on that. So more or less on the um things to expect while dating, I guess. If I had to give today a topic, that's what it would be. So just on the lookout, tips and other things like that, and hearing our opinions. And yeah, we continue to build and grow each other. This is what this channel is about and what we do. So, as you know, before we jump right into our subject, we always ask the getting to know questions. So this one, I did a little easy for Sylvie. Um, I just have one question today. That way, I know the other ones will have us thinking a lot, so I don't want to go too deep. But Sylvie, so our getting to know questions. If you won the lotto, what would be the first thing you buy?
Okay, that's an easy question, Fab.
Right?
Thank you for
Right?
thinking about me in that way. But now I'm starting to think that I like the hard question because now you're challenging me into really thinking deeper. What would I do if I were to win the lotto? I don't want to say the typical thing that everybody says. I'm gonna buy a house. I'm gonna buy a car. No, I don't want to do that. I think I'm gonna sit on it and really sit on it and think about really what I'm gonna do. The first thing though that I think I'll do is probably invest it. Definitely investment. Look into business ventures, partnering with others, um, supporting other businesses. And pretty much, I wouldn't be so quick to go and spend it, house, cars, this, that. I was never the person really to go too crazy. So I win the lotto. So he's gonna sit on it for a minute. And first of all, I am gone. You will not find me. You don't know me. I don't know who you are because I'm not telling anybody. And I will be on a hiatus, right? Hiatus. You will not find me. And I'm not running to buy anything all crazy right there and then. No, I will sit and think rationally about things that I would want to get done with that money. Definitely. So I'm not a quick, ooh, I got cash, let's spend it. No, I was never that type of person. So yeah, pretty much I'll sit down, think about investment.
Um, I agree with what you said. Like ideally, and I'm just saying in a more or less on a scenario of the what ifs. I think for me, I would probably just go on a trip and think on it and distress and not get too close. I would like probably like a month hiatus and be like, I'm going on vacation. I'm going to enjoy my time and not thinking about who needs what, who needs that, and who is deserving. Because at some point, everybody's deserving, and at some point,
Mhm.
the world needs it. And it's like I don't want to be thinking about that. I'll probably just go somewhere on a beach or somewhere, Turkey Caicos, Cayman Islands. I don't know, somewhere where I can just like, yes, I'm going on a retreat. By the time it gets out or whatever the case might be, I'm gone. And I'm enjoying myself. And that way it gives me a clear conscience to get a lawyer to review everything and to be able to say,
Correct.
making wise decisions and stuff, not making like rational promises and that I can't keep or whatever the case might be. And go on the aspect of like people who expect things, right? Like, just I want to make sure everything's okay at first and just, you'll be exposed to a lot of things. So you want to make sure that you're protected before.
Of
But I
course,
think
and
that's
you
what I would
already
do.
know.
And then everything else comes after that with what I have. And I like to think that I'm a very giving person. So I'll probably like, Oprah, you get this, you get that, you get this, you get that. But
Yeah,
then that's why I say I need that hiatus because I would probably just be gone and then end up broken in the next year because I'm just that generous and not thinking rational. So I think at first thing for me, probably like take a break.
that makes sense. I agree, definitely. Once this gets out, everybody and their mother is going to look for you. I will be the first one, and you better give me my cut. That's all I want to know. I will hunt you
You'll be on the jet
down.
though. You'll be on the jet.
Okay,
You'll be on vacation already. See, like
okay. We on vacation. Give me my cut. I will give you your piece. You could go, cuz. Let me have my piece. I don't know about everybody else, but a break, definitely we could do that. And then, of course, you're giving, I'm giving. And our family, pretty much all of us are pretty much giving. That's how we are. We've never had this issue where it's like we like
no.
so tight with
That's why
money.
it shocks me when people be like, Fabi, you have a good heart. People be burning you, but you still do more for other people. And for me, it's like, guys, I always got to quote the Bible, right? So it's more blessed to give than to receive. And I always live by that because of the fact that if I'm expecting things in return, then you've just already failed because then you'll be disappointed 24/7, right?
Of
Like, oh,
course.
I did this for so and so. And what you do, that reward and the blessing is not going to come from that person you did it for. It'll come 10 times unfold from their descendants or the stranger of the streets. You never know. So you always have to have a caring heart because I was raised in a home, and Sylvie knows that my mom always took in everybody else. Like I promise you, the amount of people who call my mom's mom and my dad and truly mean it, not just because they were friends with us, but really because my mom took them in and cared for them and protected them, fed them, especially food and whatever the case might be, and possibility of giving money and borrowing and never returning. And it's not a matter of that. It's more or less on people will be like, oh, I know your mom and I know your dad. They did good for and they worked here. They know that we know you. And sometimes it's kind of scary because you have strangers, even up to this date in Florida, like people coming up to my brother and my sister, like, we know you. And they're like, well, we don't know you, but we know your parents and they were good people and this is what they do for us. And I always find that it's good to have that kind of caring heart and just in general, because if you're always expecting like, oh, I'm not going to do this for people anymore because I've done that and every time I do it they burn me, do it anyway. Do it
Yes,
anyway.
correct. Correct. I agree.
So
That is
going
so.
into going and that's a nice topic to talk about, going
Yes,
into dating, right?
but
Because
But wait, hold on. It is a nice topic to talk about, especially when you want to go into that dating scene. Because again,
Mhm.
dating, also you getting to know each other, you would want to, once you get to know that person, that person, just as you have a giving heart, that
Yes.
also has a giving heart. With that said, to me, it's very important, being able to not be selfish. Not to say that being selfish at times is something wrong with it. No, because sometimes you have to be selfish. You have to care for yourself first, obviously, and sometimes you want to make sure that you spend that time and that energy on yourself first. With that said, though, it cannot be where it's 365 days a year, right? You want to make sure that you have those, I guess, personality traits where you are giving, you're not selfish, and you want to share, because like you said, Fab, it will be given to you tenfold in other ways, whether it is passed down to your children, whether somebody does something good for your children, your mother, your father, but your action definitely carries a consequence that you may not be able to see right there and then, but it does in the long run carry a consequence where is a good, it's a reward. I have seen that in my life, definitely. So with that said, I agree, right? You feed people, you will never in your life be hungry. Never.
Mhm.
If you're the type of person that
Mhm.
you always, and you may be broke, but you will not go hungry. You will have somebody that will come up or some way, somehow, for you to feed yourself and your
Least
family.
expected time.
Exactly, in the least expected time. So I really believe in that. I really believe in that. I was never that person. My family, like you said, Fab, my cousin, my auntie, my uncle, I know them. They're my family, and they always been that way. And I am so gracious to have them and being like that. Because if they weren't, I will cut them off in no time. Gots to go. Peace.
And I think going into the relationship topic, it actually flowed very nicely. And we have a way with words somehow that it always aligns. And like, it's a simple question about lottery that leads us right into our topic today, right? So it's perfect to have those kind of conversations when you're dating, to kind of see who you're getting into a relationship with, or even the talking dating stage with, because sometimes you'll get to know based on the person's answers. You're like,
Mm, question.
mm, I, I don't think this characteristics is like that, right? And you get to see the sign, because based on how they answer, like, oh, I don't spend time with my family. Oh, I'll talk to my mom and my dad once a week or once a month, right? And then you hear other things, and you're kind of a very family oriented. And I'm not saying those things are red signs. It's more or less, for me, there are things I look forward to, right? Because then it's like, who's your prayer warrior? Who do you go to when you need something? It like, of course, the ideal answer you're looking for is God, but do you speak to your mom about certain things, whether it's not our deeply rooted relationship problems, but do you get advice from your sister, or who is your shoulder that you lean on when you need that balance, right? So if the person really don't have a, what's that the village, you kind of want to know, how do they stand on their own? And there are strong willed people that makes it out on their own, but where you can be like, well, I'm hoping I can take that, some of that burden, that you could balance it out, that you don't have to feel like you got to carry everything on your own, right? And there are people who's like, I have someone I'm able to be talk to and give me right advice. And then you kind of see the friends too, because if your surrounding is like everybody's giving and we support each other, it might be like, well, you got to buy all your friend kids Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, like certain things in terms of expenses. So we're going to talk about, okay, so 10 things that is really key in a relationship, Sylvie. Well, I'll say three. If you had to name three like not most, because there's a lot, but your top three things that are a key in a relationship or dating?
You see, I'm the type of person where, as far as dating is concerned, I like to say that I'm flexible in a sense where, yes, I'm still staying. I need to see those items on a quote unquote checklist, that invisible checklist. However, I like to give people time because, again, it all depends. I have this thing with energy and vibe. I don't know. Like when I
Mhm.
deal with people and I get to know them, I feel that, let's say if at the beginning I notice that, you look like you're a little tight with this over here. I want to give you time to maybe another month, 2 months, as we get accustomed to each other, where you feel a little bit more comfortable, right? Because when you just meet somebody, you're not telling them everything about your life right there and then. It takes time, right? You meeting, you get to know each other, you hang out, you spend time together, quality time together, intimate time together, whichever. However, the time that you spend, you see them in different environment. I like to see people in the environment, obviously with friends, perhaps one-on-one with us, in restaurants, outside, at gathering. Like I want to see them in different environment to get to really have a solid idea of what type of person they are, right? And then when you come around family, I want to also see you within that environment, how you act, how you behave. With that said, giving is important to me, very much so, because I am not that person that is so tight and cheap and not giving. I don't do that. Like it rubs me the wrong way. I'm not saying you got to give all your money away. That's not what we are saying here. Not at
Yeah.
all. What we are saying, or at least what I'm saying for myself, is that I believe that, you want something and you want to please somebody. I don't see anything wrong with that, where you are giving in that instant. You're not calculating every penny, every dime, every every cent, where it's like, oh well, no, we cannot. No, I don't want to hear that. Too much for me, right? I'm not saying OD and go crazy ranging just because we have the money, but I think that giving is, if you see somebody don't have it, you know what? Let's go on a trip. You don't got it, I got you. You know what? We have the restaurant. You don't got it, I got you. Not a problem. You my people. I see your situation. I know your situation. I got you. Like I don't think it's hard, especially when it comes to food. I don't like to see people so tight when it comes to food. It's not that serious. It's food. If you see you out with somebody and it's just so happened they can't cover the tab for food, nah, come on. Just cover that and let's keep it going. Done. We don't need to say any more about that. It's food,
Yeah.
right? So I'm not saying, you're buying them a house, but you can't be so tight where
It's food. Like it's
it's
food.
food, right? Yeah.
Okay. Here's I don't know if we'll be able to get through all 10, but here's a few that became priority in terms of dating. I
Mm.
couldn't believe it, but intimacy is number one.
It
Like
is. What do you think?
it's
Sex.
number one in regards to dating. So okay, so here's this quote. It says, "Intimacy is the ability to completely be yourself in front of the other person, warts and all, right?" So then it says, if you can't share those difficult feelings, be vulnerable, and avoid taking any risks, you will never achieve true intimacy. Healthy relationships are one where partners share intimacy, have one another each other's back, and feel safe with one another.
I like that. The safe, have each other's back, and feel themselves around the other. Those three things I take away from that quote. I like that.
So for me, okay, ideally, that's making you think in a deeper level, right? Because I'm like intimacy, I'm thinking, well, I don't know, Sylvie. So are you kind of like okay with a person right off bat ask those questions, like intimate questions?
What kind of intimate
I'm
question?
not talking about like, okay, I'm not saying like the first day or the second day, but like who's comfortable in their manliness and they've asked, not in terms of like, what's your about body count? No, I'm saying like the flirtatious in intimacy, like they come off not strong, but they're gonna ask. Like, we're all adults here, so
Well, I could say definitely, as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion. Again, it's my opinion. Everybody else different. They could, have it differently. But for me, as far as I'm concerned, I will flirt. Like if I meet you, because again, remember from previous episode, and we talk about that. I mean, we grown. So for those of us adults in that age category, right, where we talk about 28, 30, all the way up, if we exchange numbers, it's for a reason. So either it's going to be straight buddy where we just sex. We establish that from the beginning, or it's going to be, you know what? I know what I want. You know what you want. Let's try to see if we can come together and build a relationship out of this dating that we are doing for future, because we're looking at future. In that instance, I'm expecting the person to be able to, we flirt with each other. That's the beginning, because I think intimacy takes time to build upon, right? You can't just have it just first couple of days, week. I don't think so. No. But you can flirt. You can start to feel comfortable saying certain things to the person, seeing their reaction, right? And then when you two get together, feeling the energy, right? Oh my God, I'm comfortable. We have good conversation, right? About things that matter for each one of us. Substance in the conversation. So far so good. You dress a certain way around that person. You don't feel any way where you don't feel some kind of self-esteem issues or concern, right? Like I was saying myself, it all depends. I could get dressed in 5 minutes or a whole hour or the day before. Again, it all depends on how I'm feeling with the date or the person that I'm about to meet. And I want to be able to be with somebody where I am comfortable. If I have to meet you in sweatpants, you are not going to be the type of person to be like, oh, wear sweatpants on a date. Like you are technical and all extra. You should be like, yo, you beautiful in anything that you wear. Bet done. Good to
so okay. Like, I'm the one where it feels like you're right. It has to be built. I like to feel like you notice things, right? So, like, Sylvie, like the last episode, you got a new necklace that you've been wearing. I noticed doing something different. Your background is different. You notice, like, things like that. You change your hairstyle. You notice, like, you did something different with your makeup. You
that.
know, you have to notice things, the small things. It is not about the fancy restaurants or the, it is not about that at all. It's the
Not that it's
simplest
bad.
thing.
It's good. We're not saying it's bad.
It is. We're gonna have a good meal, amazing meal. That's good. I I love food. So
Me too.
I could never say no to food. But it's about you noticing the small
Certain
things.
things.
And as we go and target these things, because like I said, there are 10 different ones, and I could try to see if we can knock them down in the next 3 episodes, 3 on 3, and we talk about it. But intimacy is so big. A lot of times we focus on the physical, and it's way more than that, right? Where a person will feel like, okay, well, um I don't feel like there's a guideline for you to say, okay, well, what that level would be like if the expectation is there. Like you said, it's all about the vibe, right? So a lot of people will be like, well, is there a handshake? Am I a hugger? Am I like, it's the vibe. There's a person that you meet, it'll probably be like a handshake, and it will never get any more than that, because you guys just don't click as you thought you would, right? And then there's the other person is like you said, by the time you get the person's number or that conversation, it must have been that physical attraction there, obviously. Like it had to be, right?
Or
But
something else, a nice
something
gesture.
else that
A
made you, like, for
gesture.
me it was different. Like I said, I'm talking about from long distance, so it was more or less on, like, you tried me, like how it wasn't that officially like, oh, who you are, oh, you're fine. Like, I promise you, I was blocked away from that beauty mindset. It was more or less on, let me go see more about you. Now I'm going to investigate you and find out more that I need to know about you to see if I will even give you the time of day. So there's different ways to go about it. But let's say if it was just a person like we talked about being on a DM, and that person been consistent, and you actually got, oh, like, okay, so let me just see what's going on here if you're not trying to live a double life or whatever the case might be. So that physical attraction is there. So clearly the initial mindset is to say, okay, yes, there's there. So yes or no, would you allow the person to kiss you? Oh, okay. So we're talking about intimacy. Would you prefer the person asks you for the first kiss? Or do you want them to make that first move to kiss you?
Well, first of all, it's about the mood, the whole way, the environment, the mood, how I'm feeling about the person. Because physical, yes, but also gesture. Like sometimes when you see somebody do a nice gesture for you, it draws you in also as well. It's not only physical, right? It has happened to me where somebody has done a nice gesture to me, and completely I was not focused on the physical or the appearance, because it was so nice and kind at that time, where it was like, oh my God, wow, okay, I didn't expect that, right? So with that said, as far as the kiss, would I prefer somebody ask me or just go for it? I don't know about the whole asking. It all depends. It depends if it's cute in a way where I'm looking at them lips. You know what? That, something like that. Like, and again, it depends on how we feeling the mood, because you could be asking me and really you're not asking me, because the way you approach, the way you did it, it's like, oh wow, go for it, I'm waiting, oh come and kiss me, right? Or it could just be like we feeling each other, and then I'm looking at your lips, so yeah, you're just looking at my lips, and it's like and then it just boom, the kiss happened, right? Because sometimes the question is really not a question, it's like it's just the person thinking aloud. I'm looking at your lips. I feel like I want to kiss your lips right about now. Let me see how
It,
that's.
I don't even know how. It's the tone of your voice in the eyes that is killing me. Okay, I think this video is gonna go as the number one. Just
That's how
we'll
it be
probably end up being
sometimes.
a meme. Okay, like at this point.
That's how it be
No, but
sometimes.
okay. So we're gonna go on our break. Okay, we're gonna go on our break to ask the question of the day. So here's the question though: what if the conversation, the vibe is right, and the obviously the physical attraction is there, and then that first kiss happened, and you feel nothing, like nothing? What happens? Like, what do you do? Have that
Oh,
happened to you before?
oh man. Can we go on a break and then we'll come back with that answer?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. So, our favies, just give us a couple of seconds. We'll be right back. We'll go on our short break.
That was a very quick, short break.
Okay, we're back. I don't know. Maybe I cheated because I want to hear this answer.
Listen, as far as I'm concerned, if we go for a kiss and the kiss happen and I don't feel nothing, or he doesn't feel, or whichever, or it's awkward, we gotta try again. I'm
Right?
thinking we gotta try again, because something must have been off, especially if you have a good rapport with the person, in the sense where you've been talking for a good, let's say it's not the, okay, you've been talking good as far as the conversation on the phone, like you feeling the vibe, and then when you finally meet face to face and a kiss happened, whether it's the first day or 2 weeks later, I don't know, a month later, I don't know, regardless of that time, right? The first kiss happened, and then all of a sudden you tell me we don't feel nothing. Oh no, we gotta try again. So I'm gonna give you 5 minutes. Why not? You let's talk, and we jumping right back again because we need to. If something has to happen, especially if we were vibing so good. Unless you don't know how to kiss. Now, if you don't know how to kiss, that's a problem. I'm just saying.
So
Nope.
okay. Um, what if they just don't know how to kiss you? How you like to be kissed? So would you take on that leadership role to say, I like to be kissed like this without offending the person? Or would you just be like, when you speak, I feel like I'm on cloud nine. When I see you, I feel like I'm on cloud nine. But the minute it's just not connecting the dots, it just.
I'm not saying anything. I
So
think
would you say, okay, so I guess the question would be, would you stay with someone if physically it wasn't where it needed to be? And that's on all levels.
okay. So, first part with the kiss, the person does not know how to kiss. Fine, I could work with that. I'm not gonna tell you necessarily that you don't know how to kiss, right? Because there's no need for that. What we're gonna do is we're gonna practice a whole lot of kissing, a whole lot of saliva kissing until you get it, right? Because it has to work, right? That's that. I don't have a problem with that. I think kissing is the least of the concern. Physical, if for whatever reason you've been for that person for whatever weeks, months, a year, whatever, and finally you get to do the do, and it's not what you thought or expected, or it's like, uh, you're like, what just happened? Where you really like, well, that we gotta talk about this and we gotta pause.
Then we have to talk about it.
Yes, you have to, because like you said, there are intimacy is one thing.
Oh,
Intimacy is a way, is separate from sex. Intimacy is totally different. It's separate from sex, in my opinion. The two are two different things. Um, Definitely in a relationship, yes, you have the intimacy, you have the sex part, you have the money, you have the respect and the communication, all of that together for this whole relationship that you're trying to build with a person. They have to work together hand in hand. Like, we cannot just in one aspect we have everything great communication, and then all of a sudden when it's time to get physical, it's like it's not so working. So what I would say is, since we communicate well, let's communicate that in the best way possible, and let's practice. Like, you know what I'm saying? Practice makes better.
yeah.
Practice.
Okay, so I think I'm gonna pull a Sylvie here because she's always doing the homework question.
Ding ding ding
So,
ding ding.
right? Ding, 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 ding. Let us know in the comments if you clicked with this person that you're dating and everything seems to be part of the checklist and the intimacy is not where you need to be.
Well,
Would you
no, let's say the
stay?
physical part.
Okay, physical intimacy is not where it needs to be. Do you stay with this person, or is intimacy a huge part, physical touch, a huge part of your life that you like, I can't negotiate, is non-negotiable? Is that part of your checklist to make sure that this person meets it? So I would love to hear your comments, and we can go from there.
Oh no, trust me.
Okay.
Our favies are going to tell us that is a part. I don't know how on the percentage of 100, but that is a big part. Okay, it can't. It is a big part. We are human beings, and as human beings, we like to touch, feel. Hello, you want to be touched. You like to touch. You want to be felt. You want to feel. You want all of that. So I don't know for anybody else, but as human beings, we want to feel that. So I don't know how you work out where there's no touching at all, like no physical, like nothing, where it's like it's not working, I think it will be kind of imbalanced, don't you think? Hmm. I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's time for a question of the day. Question of the day. Question of the day. I'm excited. Okay, so we're still talking about dating.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you meet this guy. He seems amazing. Conversation is great. And then it's time to plan your first date. And he says, before we go on a date, you have to meet my mother, my parents, and my sisters before I can take you on a date.
Oh, oh.
So what do you do? Like, you're feeling this person because clearly it's like the conversation's been great, but it's time to go on your first date. And I'm not talking about kids here, okay? Because clearly we're grown. And they say, before I go out with anybody, I always have them look into like meeting my parents before I go out with you and my siblings to know if the vibe there before I fall for you.
I don't have a problem with that. Let's get it out the way. Rather we find out right away within the first
On
few
the first date?
No, but listen, honestly, for me, and I don't know, maybe people see things differently, but first date, no. Second date, third date, no. Maybe probably 4, 5, 6 before 10. If you want to get that done, no problem. The reason why is because again, first date, I that's a meet my parents, no, because it's like we have no baseline. That's the first date. Let me just have a first date with you. Then as we go along, right? By the time we get 10 dates, if you want to do mom, dad, grandpa, the whole family, no problem. Within those 3, 4 months that we're spending together, let's get it out the way. That's true. I think that rather we get to know right away if it is going to be a match or no, as opposed to wasting time and waiting down the line a year later. And then that's when we realize, oh, you finally meet mom and dad. And it's like the vibe is off. That's a waste of time, waste of your time, waste of my time, right? Within the first 3 to 4 months, I think that there should be some way, somehow of interaction or event that's happening, taking place where you'll get to see either a cousin or a brother or a best friend or whomever within at least 3 to 4 months, you should be able to meet a best friend typed best friend, like a circle friend or a cousin or sister or brother, where you kind of feel the vibe and so on and so forth. At least that's in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'd rather get that out of the way.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. I think now we're talking about two different relationships. In one way, if we're not on a long distance relationship, I want to get to know you more because it wouldn't take a couple of weeks for us to finally go on a date, right? Because if we're clicking with matching, sometime that week it's gonna be like, when can I see you again? And you're like, I don't know, wait, when you want to see me? Like, right? So that's different because I would want to be able to defend you. I would want to be able to know so much about you that when questions are get thrown at you, that it's like, chill, like I don't want to have to be discovering things. There'll always be new things that you didn't know about a person, especially early on, that a person asks a question and we haven't gotten there yet. And we're like, oh, I didn't know that about you, and things like that. But I don't want to be like, what's your middle name? And your parents are right there and you don't even know nothing about me because they're interviewing me and you're finding out more things about me at the same time. Like, no, let's get to know each other a little bit more and we'll go from there. But for a long distance relationship, I can understand that because I kind of did that to Andrew, but it wasn't like our first date. But he knew that this was months in the planning. That'll be like, okay, well, it values like if you're gonna be coming over, like nobody's just gonna cross the ocean just because it's like, oh, let me see what Canada's like. Clearly, you have some sort of intention, so make your intention pure and honest from day one. Period. Right? So that was something like that, but it wasn't like you got off the airplane and boom, you go meet the parents. No, it's like the next day. But still, it was months in the making, and he had already spoken to them and the same thing. And it's funny because like when me and Andrew first started talking, I ended up talking to his mom because the phone was ringing. I called and she answered, and I almost hung up.
She's listening.
I almost hung up the phone because I didn't want to speak to her. I was like, oh shoot, this is the time. And she's like, you sound like you got an accent. Where are you from? And I was so exposed, Sylvie, on the phone. She's like, what's your name? Where you're from? She's like, this is an international number. And I was like, okay, 50, like you're really looking into this, you know? And she's like, well, you don't sound like the rest of them that be coming around here. I was so shocked and bold how bold she was, but God rest her soul. I had one of the best mother-in-law. Like we would have 4 or 5 hour conversation on the phone, and she'll be like, she will snitch on Andrew. Like, bruh, this lady didn't play, okay? She'll be like, you know he got a girlfriend. They getting married, right? It could be the neighbors walking up the street. She don't care. She don't care who comes up that street, doesn't come, whatever you're talking to. Like, sometimes people like, can I speak to Fabi now? Because she'll call me on her phone. We'll be on the phone. And he wants to talk to me. I'm still on the phone with her. But in that regard, she was amazing. That was the first reaction. I think it was like maybe the first week or so. It was very fast. And I was so scared. I was like, oh my gosh. Because she was asking all kind of questions like, what school did I go to? And what am I doing? And I was just like, I don't even know if I want to be with your son yet. Like, but nonetheless, it was amazing and serious, and I'm glad that we kind of got it out the way, because she'll come in the room and she'll be like, oh, tell Fabi I said hi. And he's like, Mom, what if I wasn't on the phone with Fabi? Well, that's who you need to be on the phone with at this time. So I'll be in the, she doesn't care, no filter, okay? So she was definitely proud of her daughter-in-law, that's for sure. She used to give you the tips too. She's like, you make them chase. Don't have them thinking it's easy. You make them do the chase thing. And I'm like, but that's your son. I don't care. If he's not doing his job, leave him and get somebody. You too good. So she was that kind of mother-in-law. Like, not the ones that will take up for their son knowing that they're wrong or trifling. She was the one that will be like, listen, you need to do this, and that. And she'll check anybody in a minute. So that was like getting to know our question of the day. Actually, if you would what would happen? Would you want to, or would you feel like the person's moving too fast? And one way I like it, not in terms of, I like right off the bat if there's a child involved in either party. And I'll close with that. If, for example, you have a child or he has a child, I think it's good to meet right off the bat, because if they don't click and have no intentions of clicking by you wasting 6 months or a year into this relationship and then bringing the child around, you've just wasted that time. Because sometimes
really
you are. I think it's right off the bat, you should let your child meet this person that you eventually may want to spend your life with, because that first original bond, when there's nothing attached, your emotions is just on, oh, this person, fine, I could handle that. I could be with this person. But it's not as in, I understand your mind, your soul, your body, your everything, not on that deeper level. And it's hard to now to say, well, my child is a child and their feelings, they're just going to have to deal with it. This person's going to be your, and then this is where a lot of the time the clash happens. You're not my mama, you're not my daddy, because you didn't value that person's opinion. This is not a toddler or infant. The minute the child is, I would say, at least 5 and up, get that original click.
But what about if it's
important? I've seen sorry, I didn't hear your question.
No, what about if it's an older child? Because when you brought this up, it made me think, and it's like, oh wow, it's another question. Would you actually introduce your children to the date that obviously it's been maybe 3 months or so, or 4 months, and you feel comfortable and you want to get that out of the way right away? I don't know.
Don't wait. The reason I personally think it's best to get it out the way. Yes. What are you hiding? Like, I don't want to bring a million guys in front of my child unless I know I'm serious. It sounds good, But what about this person that you think you've clicked with? Now you've been with the person for 3-6 months, you've been going behind their back, and now you already at that relationship stage and taking it up a step further. Now you have to rebuild this connection of you being around this person, the level of touching and hugging. You've already established that. So now your child got to experience that because you've already did that for 6 months with the person. You're already truly comfortable with them. Build with your child that level of respect, grow, because the child's not all of a sudden, now here's this guy coming in bringing my mom flowers and kissing my mom. Who are you? Like, who are you? Or here's this female coming in who's trying to take my mom's space, and you're now comfortable in the kitchen because the child, you be coming when the child's at school, so now you're comfortable in the kitchen, you're ready to go, and it's like you're invading our space. We have actually, I sit here, you don't, and then the child feel like you're going to replace them. Whatever it is, whether it's a you as a female that has a child or the guy, that respect and boundaries, that their opinion matters. And I think a lot of times starting a new relationship, as a parent, I can see why you want to protect them and not get them comfortable bringing somebody around. No, but that level of saying, this is mommy's friend, that comes to, we're now in a relationship. Now that person will feel like, I need to speak to this child and say, I would like to be in your life before I even propose and engage to your mother. How do you feel about that? They feel like their lives, even though they're young, their decisions are not being made for them. They're part of that journey. And you guys rob them of that. A lot of times parents rob kids of that, and then they end up having conflict. And it's like, unless the child's really young and they look into this person and be like, you're not a stepdad to me, you're my dad. And you'll be surprised how easy they connect and click. And it's like, I'm not trying to take your dad's space, or I'm not trying to take your mom's space. Let's grow together. I'm just your dad's friend. And we go from there. Include them in those kind of movies, because at the end of the day, them taking you on dates, especially if the person that you're dating don't have a child, throwing in that parenting skill, you want to know what they would be like with your child. Because they will be a father figure or a mother figure to your child. So why uphold it? You got to take me as a whole package, sweetheart. It's me and my child. So you can't say, oh, the past 3-4 months, we did everything we could. It was just the two of us. And then now you're like, you want more family dates. No, let's start from the beginning. We will make our own time together, but my child has to be involved. I'm not going to keep hiring a babysitter. I'm not going to, no, we're going to have to start doing some home stuff, because that's what our life would look like. Get the vision from the beginning. And this is why a lot of times relationship fails, because people don't see the clear vision from the beginning. And then they're like, well, we used to be able to do some fun stuff, but then, now it's like the expenses for childcare, because you weren't spending a lot of money on babysitting because you was home. You weren't dating nobody. So now it's like, because this guy want to take you out 2-3 times a week and don't consider your child because now he never met your child. When he meets your child now, he's still gonna want to take you out 2-3 times a week. Don't make yourself readily available. And that's why I said that 2-3 shows ago. In regards to at the dating stage, don't make yourself readily available to the person, because you cannot adapt. And that's why people say, oh, once you get married, you barely have intimacy, sex once a month or two, then you get busy because
I love
you're pushing everything. And it's like, that life is not the same. But if it's the same from the dating to the relationship to the marriage, you won't know the difference, because it's always been the same. And, you spice it up or you take it down a notch, because that person has to understand that responsibility, and they got to be ready for it. Don't waste 6 months of your time when you could have found another person, or possibly don't have nobody in your life, to feel like I've clicked and connected with you. And the person will be like, well, I was just thrown into this. You never truly asked me if I was comfortable. Yet, I just was still getting to know you. But I don't need you to just get to know me, because you won't just be part of my life. You'll be part of my child's life too.
That's a lot to take on. Looking from the way you presented to us here tonight, today, whatever time it is, and it makes sense, because me, I was totally the opposite. I was like, oh my God, I'm not bringing, or I don't want nobody coming around my kids just like that. And it does make sense the way you presented it, because you don't want to wait 6 months later and now you want to say, okay, now you're meeting the child, and then That is true. You want your children to feel comfortable, right? Who is that stranger taking over my living room, my TV, and just laying back and chilling in the house? No, I never
Mm-hmm.
liked that. And actually, I'm a product of that as far as for me and my brother. And it's like, I never liked that. Like, I guess it's the look of it, and what society thinks also as well. As a female woman, you don't want to bring too many. But again, it goes both way because as a man, you have all those ladies coming in, and it's like, oh my God, so which one you picking, dad? Which one you picking, mom? Right? So with that said, right, it's a lot to take on, it's a lot to think about. And I do see your perspective on that because I was thinking totally different. I was thinking nope, 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 nope. But now the way that you presented it to us tonight, I feel like, oh, you know what? Get that out of the way. Just present it in the most natural form. Hey, you come and pick me up. Oh, by the way, this is so and so, this is so and so. And then see and take a quick look at the whatever happened, transpire in between the, hey, this is so and so, this is mommy's friend, this is daddy's friend. Hey, how you doing, kiddo? Blah, blah, blah. And just see how it vibes. I see what you're saying. It makes sense because then you could look at it and be like, that may not be so. And then again, the child has to be comfortable seeing that person often, obviously. And you want to have that conversation. Hey, how do you feel about mom or dad dating somebody else, seeing somebody else that is not your mom, that is not your father? Have a sit down with them, which I think is fair because, back in the days, old fashioned, back in the days, parenting style, the OGs, they don't ask you anything. You a kid, stay in your lane in the back somewhere. I do what I must. And if I'm dating so and so, not your problem. You get along with it. And if I'm marrying so and so, you got to zip your mouth and you handle it. And I'm the product of that. And guess what? 30 years later, nothing changed. And I knew it as a kid. I was like, nope, not the one. But you're a child. You can't say that to mom and dad. You got to zip your mouth. And sure enough, not the one. Nothing. Zero. So the vibe was not there. And obviously, parents didn't ask you questions about, hey, do you like so and so? Nope. Nobody asked anything like that. So I think now, with this generation, I feel like I don't know, maybe some people were always like that, but with this generation, and I guess me, myself, I could think about that, right? Future, you have children as a parent, you should consider your children's point of view and feelings about you dating somebody else. I think that's fair enough, right? I think it is
Yeah.
definitely. Yep, I agree. Wow, this was a great session as always.
Yes. Thank you to our babies for watching. And like I said, we have so much, but even our question of the day was so deep. Like,
Yeah.
let us know what you guys think. And I'm so happy to go into these next few ones with you guys. So for episode 7, we're going to keep talking about the relationships, but then we're going to talk about the boundaries within the relationships, the needs of the relationship, and the fear of the relationship. So that's a heavy one too. And as you know, we enjoy being here. We enjoy bringing these contents and having these conversations. And hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, morning, night, whatever, whenever you're watching this. And see you next time.
Be safe out there. Be safe.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye.